With just 2 days for Christmas and almost a week for the new year to dawn, will power cuts increase? Will the tariffs increase? What is going on in the country and around the world? Welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1 to figure out this and more details on other stories. First, let's have a look at your headlines.
One dead in Sidua shooting. Chief incumbent of the Mihintale Rajmaha Vihare critical of the country's situation. Government parliamentarian stance on environmental damage caused to the Trikona Madu Reserve. 47 people arrested from the Western Province upon suspicion of dealing drugs targeting school students.
Now to your news in detail. A 39-year-old man was shot dead in Sidua today this morning, and Sri Lanka police said that gunman on a motorbike had carried out this shooting.
Crime Watch.
A man and woman were injured following a shooting in the Kotukoda area in Sidua on Friday morning. Sri Lanka police said that they were immediately admitted to the Sidua hospital and then transferred to the Ragama Teaching Hospital. The man had thereafter succumbed to his injuries and an investigation is underway.
Crime Watch.
An almsgiving was held today in lieu of the 75th anniversary of the Mihintale National School.
The almsgiving was presided over by the chief incumbent of the Mihintale Rajmaha Vihare, Venerable Valavahangunawave Dharmaratana Thera.
I have spoken to presidents, prime ministers and ministers on the burning issues our country is facing. Although I brought those issues to their attention, I did not see any progress on resolving those matters. Those rights and demands can only be won through influencing them to make a change. Protests and campaigns were held across the island as well. Those who are adamant on protecting state assets from being sold come onto the streets and urge the administration to refrain from selling them off. At present, a large pressure has been mounted on the government on that front, and if those struggles are to succeed, leaders must pay attention to the demands of the masses.
And in other local stories, Sri Lanka police arrested 47 people for allegedly selling narcotics targeting school students.
Sri Lanka police said that a special operation was carried out from 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. covering 149 schools in the Western Province yesterday and made the arrests. Over a kilogram of a narcotic substance identified as mawa, 9.63 grams of heroin, 2.38 grams of crystal meth, 207.59 grams of marijuana was seized during the raid. Sri Lanka police said that a 17-year-old boy from a well-known school in Mirihana was arrested for the possession of marijuana.
Meanwhile, a campaign to collect signatures for a petition to oppose unjust tax imposition took place opposite the Karapitia Teaching Hospital.
Signature collection campaign was organized by the Government Medical Officers Association. The GMOA pointed out that the increasing taxes have forced professionals to leave the country in large numbers.
Now, in one of the most awaited stories, the Ceylon Electricity Board says that it would not increase the period of daily power outages under any circumstance. The Ceylon Electricity Board spokesperson Andrew Namuni says that although there is an issue in procuring coal, there will be no extended power cuts. He said that the CEB has opted for alternative measures in the event a need arises for extended power cuts. One generator at the Norochole power plant was shut down with effect from Thursday for maintenance. Now, the Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchan Wijesekara, says that the maintenance was originally scheduled for January 2023. However, as it is expected that water levels of the reservoirs next to the hydropower plants would reduce during that period. Such a decision was made. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka had granted approval for the CEB to suspend the supply of electricity on Friday for 2 hours and 20 minutes. However, there will be no power cuts on Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Convening a press conference in Colombo, the Electricity Users Association expressed views regarding the closure of the Norachole power plant.
Last week, Minister Kanchana bragged about suspending the chairman of the Engineers Union because of a speech he made. One of the units at the Norachole power plant has been closed. This means that there is no coal. Because there is no coal, they have closed down one generator. They said that they have coal. If so, why was the generator closed down? This is the question that we must ask. Who is at fault? The President must find fault with Minister Kanchana for deceiving the people.
වහාම ජනාධිපතිවරයා චෝදනා පත්‍රය නිකුත් කරන්න ඕනේ මේ කාංචන ඇමතිවරයාට මේ රටම මුලා කිරීම සම්බන්ධව.
Now, as we all know, the tourism industry is one of the biggest industries that brings in one of the biggest revenues to the country. However, following the tragic Easter Sunday attacks in 2019, the tourism industry in Sri Lanka suffered a severe collapse. And then the COVID-19 pandemic further worsened the situation. Now, at a time when Sri Lanka is facing the worst economic crisis in its history, it is essential to uplift tourism in Sri Lanka in order to overcome this crisis.
Involved in the tourism industry point out that owing to shortages in fuel, gas and due to power cuts, they have not been able to provide tourists with even the basic essential facilities. Thus, it has become difficult to keep tourists coming into the country for a prolonged period. Today, only a few tourists can be seen in areas that used to be thriving with tourists, especially during the Christmas season.
Back in the day, during the Christmas season, we experienced a major inflow of tourists. But now that has weakened a lot. When there is a village tour, our carts are on the road. A maximum of 50 to 25 guests come to Sigiriya. If they keep on imposing power cuts, the amount will further decrease. Only 2 or 3 people arrive. So we request the authorities to solve these problems so that everyone can survive.
Many businesses that provide tourist hotels, resorts, restaurants and related services have been closed as a result of these issues. A large number of people who depended directly and indirectly on the tourism industry have also lost their jobs. Although the authorities have made various statements to promote the tourism industry, those involved in the field point out that they have not been implemented on a practical level.
The amount of tourists visiting Sigiriya is very low. Some say even restrictions have been imposed on visiting Sri Lanka. Therefore, the major thing for the government to do is to maintain relationships with the countries and clearly tell them that it is safe to come to Sri Lanka.
In 2019, Sri Lanka earned $3,606.9 million through the tourism industry. But in 2020, the tourism industry only earned $682 million. In 2021, this dropped to $506.9 million.
And in other local stories, the bonus given to state enterprises has been increased. This is according to a new circular issued by the Finance Ministry Secretary.
The Finance Ministry Secretary has issued a circular, a 25,000 rupee sum to any profit-earning state enterprises in 2021, and if the losses have been minimized in 2022, those entities will be given 20,000 rupees. The money given has increased compared to the previous circular.
A decision has been reached to provide fuel for farmers for free of charge for this Maha season. Now, fuel will be provided to farmers to reap the harvest. An Agricultural Ministry Secretary Gunadasa Samarasinghe says that fuel will be provided with the commencement of the harvesting activities. He also said that information regarding the matter has been directed to the relevant institutions.
Under the fuel stocks we receive under the Chinese relief package, about 64% of the fuel distribution process is being carried out. We will not provide fuel to prepare agricultural lands as it has already been done, but we will provide fuel for the purpose of harvesting in 20 litres per hectare, which will be sufficient for that purpose. This would not be the full amount, but the required amount in a way that will be distributed to all farmers. Especially in accordance with the details received from the Agricultural Services Centre, we will be making arrangements to provide the sufficient amount of fuel.
Meanwhile, the National Trade Union Centre opposed the Gazette notification issued to weaken the trade union movement. Now, its secretary Chandana Suryarachi expressed these views at a media briefing held in Colombo yesterday. The rights and privileges enjoyed by trade unions related to the public service in this country have been largely taken away by the Gazette notification containing the new procedural rules issued by the Public Service Commission. That means that a person holding a position in a government-approved registered trade union can be released. At least 11 people were injured and hospitalized following an accident on the Southern Expressway.
The accident involved a private bus and a lorry and took place near the 73rd mile post between Bettegama and Kurunduga Hatakma along the Southern Expressway. Sri Lanka police said that heavy vehicle movement on the Southern Expressway between Bettegama and Kurunduga Hatakma was disrupted due to the accident. Newsfirst correspondent reported that the private bus was on an excursion with a group travelling from Watugedera Ambalangoda. The bus had crashed on a lorry that was parked on the side of the Southern Expressway.
Moving on to some international stories, the Taliban has arrested 5 women taking part in a protest in the Afghan capital Kabul against the ban on women attending universities that was introduced just a while ago.
5 women who were taking part in a protest in the Afghan capital Kabul against the recent ban on women attending universities have been arrested by the Taliban. 3 journalists were also arrested. Protests are also understood to have taken place in the Takhar province. Guards stopped hundreds of women from entering universities on Wednesday, a day after the ban was announced. It is the latest policy restricting women's education since the Taliban returned to power last year. Girls have already been excluded from most secondary schools. The new ban was implemented with immediate effect by the Higher Education Minister on Tuesday, with public and private universities ordered to bar women from attending. Later, the Taliban Minister of Higher Education, Nida Mohammad Nadeem, said on state television that women were banned from university for not following the dress code.
Taking a look at a headline-making story today, a group including MP Jagat Samaravikrama visited the Trikonamadu Forest Reservation in Polonnaruwa to inspect the deforestation taking place in the area.
Coordination Committee meeting on the 19th of December, it was decided to immediately stop the destruction caused to the Trikonamadu Forest Reservation in Valikanda. However, deforestation had continued to take place, disregarding the decision. Chairman of the District Coordination Committee, MP Jagat Samaravikrama, visited the area along with a group to inquire into the situation. The forest area was being cleared when they visited the location.
සීමා ප්‍රතිර මේක අක්කර 10,000ක් විතර තියෙන එකක්. දැන් ඔබතුමා කියන විදිහට මේක පරිසර අනුමැතියක් නැහැ නේ. එතකොට ඔබතුමා කියනවා මම මොනවද කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඔබතුමානේ නෙමෙයි. අද වොයිස් කට් එක දෙන්නද ඔයාලට මම? නෑ මම ගාව තියෙනවා. කියන එක නෑ. ඔබතුමා කියනකොට මම කිය මොනවද? ඇමතිතුමා අපි බොහොම ගරු කරන ඇමතිවරයෙක්. ඇමතිතුමා කියලා ඉවර වෙලා නැහැ නේ. ඔබතුමාලට වොයිස් කට් එකේ පරිසර විනාශ කරන්න කියලා. අපිට NLD කිව්වොත් මේක නවත්තපන් කියලා අපි හිතුවා නවත්තලා. දැන් නවත්තලා. බෑ දැන් NLD එකට ඕන දේවල්ම කරනවා නම් අපි එහෙම බෑ. ඒක බෑ. අපි ගිවිසුම් අස්සන් කියලා NLD. ගිවිසුම් අස්සන් NLD එකෙන් ගිවිසුම් අස්සන් කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපි ඔයාලගේ අපි බදු ගෙවලා දෙන්නේ. මේ පුතියත් හොඳයි.
ඔබතුමත් හොඳයි. ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. මේ අහන්නකෝ. දැන් මේ මාමලා මේ කට්ටිය කියන කතාව තමයි ගමට මේ සුද්ධ කරනකොට මේකේ අවුරුදු 30ක් රැඳිලා හිටපු අලි ටික ගමට වදිනවා කියලා. යම් සාධනීය එකතැනකට එමු කියන එක තමයි යෝජනාව. මිනිස්සුන්ගේ එක ජීවිතයක් හරි ගයක් හරි මෙතනින් පස්සේ කැඩුනොත් එහෙම අපි පැහැදිලිවම මරාගෙන මැරෙන තත්ත්වයට අපි පැහැදිලිවම මේ ගම්මාන පිටින්ම බයි. ඒ ඉන්න ඒ බඩේරුඟු ආද මේක යනකොට බඩේරුඟු ආදලා කන්න දෙන්නෙත් මිනිස්සුන්ට නම් ඒ මිනිස්සුම දැන් අලි ගහලා මැරෙනවා නම් ඒ මැරෙන මේ කතන්දර පැටලිලක් තියෙනවනේ.
ඔබතුමාට පුළුවන් නම් මැදිහතට මේකට ගයිඩ් ලයින් එක දෙන්න. ගයිඩ් ලයින් එක නැතුවද ඔබතුමා කරන්නේ? නෑ ඒක නෙමෙයි මම කඩිනමින් රැස්වීමක් තියෙනවා කිව්වා. ඒ රැස්වීමේදී ඔබතුමාත් හරි ගෑ.
දැන් රැස්වීම තියෙනකොට මේක ඉවරයි. එතකොට ගස් ටිකට ගෙලියන් පස්සේ ඊට පස්සේ මෙතන ඇවිල්ලා බලන්න පිට්ටේනේ මේක කෝ ගස් කිව්වා. රැස්වීම තියා ඉන්න දැයි රැස්වීමක් ගන්නවා කිව්වේ.
Around 1,500 acres of forest land that belongs to the Trikonamadu Forest Reservation in Polonnaruwa is being cleared for months to prepare the land for maize cultivation. A heated exchange took place during a discussion with the investor.
අපි මේක පැහැදිලිවම අපි මේකට කියන්නකො මට මේකට විරුද්ධයි කොහොමද කියන්නේ හරි ඔයා වචන තියන්නේ එහෙම එකක් ඔබතුමා ඔය දැන් අහමතුතුමා ඔයාට වොයිස් කට්ටේ වල තියනවා කියලා ඔබතුමා මෙතන ප්‍රසිද්ධිය කියලා මෙතුමා මේ හැල්ලුවට රැක් කරන්න එපා මෙයා ප්‍රාදේශ සභා සභාපති අපි වාද වෙන්න ඕනේ මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට අපි උත්තර දෙන්න ඕනේ මිනිස්සුන්ට ඔබතුමාගේ ඔය ලිය කියවිලි සියලු මුස්සගෙන වාට යන්න වෙන ප්‍රාදේශ සභාවේ අපි ගේනවා එතෙන්ට ගේනවා අපි ගේනවා එතෙන්ට ඔයාලා ගේන්න එදාට ගේන්න පරිසර වාර්තා ගේන්න නිර්දේශයන් ගේන්න මේ වහා.
And taking a look at your weather, the Met Department says that rainy and windy conditions are likely to increase over most parts of the island during the 24th and 25th of December. Now moving on to Gammadha stories, another project initiated by the Gammadha movement got underway today. The project will provide a solution to the clean drinking water problem in the Hengamur village of the Kobegane Divisional Secretariat in Kurunegala. Now, for many in the Hengamur village in Kobegane, Kurunegala, obtaining clean drinking water has always been a problem, a very perennial problem. This is due to the salinity of water in wells of the area. Despite the relevant authorities being informed of this issue, a solution had not been provided to the people in this area. As a result, the number of patients suffering from kidney ailments was increasing in the village very heavily. Now, after Gammadha was notified of this issue, steps were taken to install a water filtration system. Now, initial steps were set up the water filtration system, and this took place at the Hengamur Mahavidyalaya today. The financial support of this endeavour was provided by Dr. M.U.A. Tennakon and Mrs. Devinka Pusvalla, along with their family and friends. This project is being implemented with the technical support of the Sri Lanka Navy under the directions of the National Kidney Disease Monitoring and Research Unit of the Ministry of Health. Following its completion, the project will be declared open to the public in the near future. That's all the news for now. Bringing you the news from the news desk, I'm Sandro Satyajit. Have a beautiful day.